It is less is more na. Just less is more is a very special category. We write and then delete. Yeah. All the unnecessary has to be deleted. 60 साल के बूढ़े या 60 साल के जवान was the first line I wrote in advertising.
Really? Welcome to Creative Talkative with Ketki Tewary.
Yeah, we're creative and talkative. There's no stopping this. There's no topping this. Time to explain what's in our veins, what's in our minds. Take a peek into these lives. Yeah, we're creative and talkative. There's no stopping this. There's no topping this.
Today on Creative Talkative, we are getting talkative with Subodh Poddar, an ad filmmaker with over 200 ad films in his kitty. He is one of India's finest contemporary artists and sculptors. Known for his unique art captures, he believes that there is no greater form of self-evolution than art. You've mentored me indirectly, but I think even otherwise, the way you live your life, the kind of things you do, I think that gives a lot of people, a lot of juniors, that courage to take that plunge and say that, "Haan, theek hai," you know.
I like youngsters. I like to interact with them. So much to learn, so much to update with, you know.
I agree.
So probably that's why I keep looking for these interactions with youngsters.
Right. So you directed more than 200 ad films?
About, I don't remember, between India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh, yeah, maybe 200.
Again, some of the most well-known work of yours is, I remember the Taste of India, Amul
Taste of India, Nerolac Paints.
Nerolac Paints. But then there is another one, which again is one of my favorites, is for a washing machine, Volta's washing machine. Oh my God, I think that was one of your...
that was
such an amazing piece of work.
Story. Volta's had made this washing machine.
Right.
7 kilos it can accommodate. And there was some problem with the machine, you know. They had to sell it out. It had to be sold in certain time. So they wanted to stop the productions. So it has to be a very high-powered creative. Suddenly one day I went and asked, you know, what does this 7 kilo means? Yeah? What is 7.5 kilos? So she said maybe 4 jeans and 5 saris and 2 salwar kameez. So I imagined all those people without jeans and without saris and without house coat and without chaddis. So I draped all of them in towel and they have challenged this woman ki ye dhoke dikhao.
No, I still remember.
So that is how the concept came, you know. Yeah. So if this housewife has taken 4 jeans from somebody, 10 shirts and so many pants and so many things.
किसी के कपड़े नहीं
बचे तो सब मशीन में चले गए. So they are standing with the towels and they are saying अभी धो के दिखाओ. इतने कपड़े कोई मशीन में धो नहीं सकता. Right. And the housewife says बिल्कुल धो सकता है.
Subodh, you say that advertising has supported your life for over 40 years. But then you also say that, you know, on hindsight, you should have probably gotten into pure art a long time ago. Why is that?
When I got into advertising, I mean, when I got into art college, JJ, I did not know what I was getting into. I went into art college thinking, you know, becoming a great artist, big artist, and then slowly got to know, even the first year itself, I got to know that fine arts mein ek taraf ka training hai, commercial artist second other kind, and if you are a commercial artist, then you are getting a job. So one senior student of mine who was working, senior friend of mine, he was working with Dicunas and he said, Subodh, chal ek illustration karna hai. And he took me to Colaba office, and it was a tiger in the tank, Bank of India's illustration had to do a tiger. I did it fatak se ek din mein. Every day I was being called for some job or the other. Okay. Now when the strike got over, when we had to go back for exams, so of course I passed and I scored well and went into Dicunas. So started from Dicunas. And quite late in life, you know, after a few years, I realized that there was a child in me, you know, which used to pick up black clay from the rice field around my school.
I have heard this incident. At the age of 6, you made your first sculpture.
I think my eldest sister has a photograph also of me making images of gods and goddesses. So that passion that I had from that childhood, I used to pick up clay and come home and make toys and statues and images of gods and goddesses. And thank God my parents never stopped me. So from that time, that child was doing sculptures till I was about 11-12 years or something. तो क्या हुआ कि then uh, I lost touch
Huh.
as I get into advertising. I lost touch with the art. So I started missing this passionate thing that I was about, like making clay sculptures, making paintings, and so that drew me back. So I started taking time from advertising, and drew me back into my
Fine art.
Fine
or
art.
True form of art,
yeah,
like you say.
true form of art, which was inherent in me.
So when you started painting, you must have had a favorite medium. You must have had like something that was very close to your heart in terms of subjects. So what interested you the most?
See, the most interesting for me was human body
Hmm.
and the moving body.
Hmm.
When something is moving, and if I can capture that. That was in terms of sketches, and I was very influenced by great artist Heber and Bendre, Shavak Chawla. His dance paintings was a big influence in my life. So I always wanted to paint dance in life.
Okay.
When I retired from my work,
Okay.
I started doing sculptures and looking for subjects. Again, I wanted to do dance in sculpture, not like regular dance. So I thought of this Mohenjo-daro girl, the girl who is standing like this in the history
Yes,
books,
yes.
with the bangles from here to here.
Yeah.
For 5,000 years, she's just standing. So I said, what if I make her dance? The original Mohenjo-daro girl is 4 inches, about this much. It's in National Museum, Delhi. So 4 inches is too small, so I started making 8 inches.
Bigger one.
Bigger
Okay.
ones. This much dancers in bronze, same features, same lanky structure, same kind of aboriginal features, and same bangles, and how she's dancing. So I visualized them. I first did some in terracotta,
Okay.
fired them just to see how it looks.
Right.
That they were my prototypes.
Ah.
Then I found out who can do this in bronze for me, because original was in bronze. I found out, I was shooting in Pondicherry once, and there I met one sculptor who had a studio in Swami Malai. Swami Malai is the place where all the bronze sculptures that we see in temples and in curio shops, all the South Indian gods and goddesses are made only in Swami Malai. I knew what this lost wax process was, and there I went and saw them working.
Right.
And the process is like if you have a statue
Huh.
to make, you will make the statue first in wax.
Oh, okay.
And wax that is semi-molten. You can, like
Mold
clay,
it.
you can mold it. Okay. So you will attach everything in wax only. So if something has gone wrong, on your table there will be a fire, coal fire. You can take it to the fire, it will melt,
Acha,
and you can
got it.
correct. And then you have to cover it with clay, and then leave 2 outlets here.
Huh.
So that is now covered like a football with clay.
Right.
It will dry, and then you heat it. With heating, all the wax will melt out of these 2 outlets.
Oh, understood.
So now inside the football it's empty. I made about 9 sculptures in my first stay, about 10 days ka stay.
Wow.
Now, another wonderful thing about Swami Malai, the Kaveri river takes a turn on Swami Malai, and it deposits kind of sand and clay which can withstand 1200 degrees of heat. No other clay in India, no plaster of Paris, no other material can withstand 1200 degrees. And that must have been the reason of descendants from Mohenjo-daro
Right.
and settled here.
Right.
And they had to do some bronze work, and they found this place.
Your art finds its home in the homes of Atul Kasbekar,
Yeah, Atul Kasbekar,
Balki.
Balki, then Kiran Devhans, Anand Mahindra,
Correct.
Nikhil Kapoor. Nikhil Kapoor is quite a fan of mine.
Oh, is it? So clearly, most of the work that I see around, dance has been a big inspiration. So I'd like you to tell me about this one incident. Something happened in the December of 1988. You were invited for an event which was I think 150 years of Times of India.
Oh, Times of India.
Where there were some very famous
Yeah.
dancers who were performing.
Yes, yes.
And what I've read is that you went there and they were dancing.
Somebody
Correct?
was sitting next to me and just took
You
his
took
invite.
their invite and you started drawing.
My space was over.
That's very interesting. So that was the beginning of Dancescapes.
See, like in the days when I was completely up to here with advertising,
Yeah.
going insane.
Yeah.
So I found my sanity in these drawings,
Right.
because quick, and I couldn't afford to give lot of time to my art. I had to come back to advertising.
Right.
So I used to find these dance shows. I used to go to the theatres, dance auditoriums, and sit in the dark auditorium and look at the dance and sketch.
In that moment where someone's dancing, where the pose is changing every second.
Yes, I was doing this for 2-3 years, and then realized that I'm not getting it completely. Every dancer has a different body language. We all have 2 hands, 2 legs, but the way you move, the way I move is different.
It's different, yeah.
I started learning Odissi for 4 years.
Really? Oh my
I
God.
learned formal Odissi for 4 years to know my body.
And I don't think there is any famous dancer starting
That I have
from
not
Birju
covered.
Maharaj to Astad Debu. You've not, have you left anyone out? I think you've captured
Maybe
all of
I
them.
have captured most of them, all the celebrity dancers, like from Swapna Sundari to Hema Malini to Mallika Sarabhai, Mrinalini Sarabhai.
Was it ever the other way around, where you were inspiring them? Someone is capturing us, so we better be even more graceful.
Once Birju Maharaj was on stage, Shanmukhanand Hall, I was drawing, and I had one thappi of drawings. He took the papers, he saw all of them, and then he said, मैं सब पे साइन करूँगा, मुझे एक दोगे?
Another thing that I would like to ask you is, so Western dance is very different from Indian dance. So do you have a preference, or do you think that
Yes.
you're able to capture one
Yeah,
better
see,
than
when
the
I
other?
say less is more,
हाँ.
my trouble with Indian dance is यहाँ से चोटी लटक रही, यहाँ से गजरा है, यहाँ पर मेकअप है. So all that distracts.
Has to come also. No?
Yeah,
In a
I
part.
try to get them,
Correct.
but in Western dance,
It's a cleaner
just a
form.
leotard and only the body form.
Correct.
So completely different styles. So if I am not aware
Right.
of that moment, because she is moving, no?
Right.
I cannot capture the whole dance. I am not a camera, I am not a movie camera. I can capture one moment, so I have to freeze in that moment and live completely in that moment and reproduce that.
So it's excellent.
So-
I mean, this is like.
So there's no past, there's no future. It's now. It's linked to Dancescapes, my Rahula.
Correct.
My story writing, my
Yeah.
passion for film. I've got many scripts written, but Rahula was my favorite, and till now it is favorite. So I started writing about Buddha through child's eyes, how this child was waiting for his father, and in the end the child will live with the father.
Okay.
He also will leave.
Correct.
And Yashodhara is standing, like,
Yeah.
oh my God, father had gone now. So that story I built up.
Right.
I wrote the story, I was very happy with it. And I went to Bodh Gaya to a friend who is a historian of Buddhist history. He's a scholar of Buddhist history and a historian, Dr. Kailash Prasad. I went to check whether my story has got any negative points which Buddhists won't like or will create controversies. So I read out the story to them and they loved it. They said, we have not seen Buddha like this ever before. Though it is creative, though it is fiction, but it is very nice. Monks from Japan, monks from Thailand, monks from Sri Lanka, all monks are all around, and I was sketching them.
Right.
To study the fold of their clothes, to study how they sit.
Yeah.
And I saw they're sitting for hours, and the moment a leaf fell from the tree, they would grab it and put it in the pocket,
Oh.
like a blessing. We artists are blessed that we can see our mistakes with our own eyes. We all have experienced this, yeah?
Yeah. Correct.
Writers, singers, artists, we know and we don't expose it to the world. Sorry, I cannot tell you out of 20 drawings, I may like only 2. So rejection, if I can reject myself, इससे बड़ा evolution क्या हो सकता है?
Right.
So that is the blessing of being an artist.
I would like to end this lovely talk that we're having with one question. What, according to you, is an artist's role in our society?
Oh, I think, art's primary role is to make happiness around. With my colors, with my lines, with my music, if I can make somebody happy, at the end of the day I can say, yes, I have earned it. So I want to make art. That is why I'm doing so much of dance, so much of India, so much of colors. Dance movements is my expression. I don't look for very deep thoughts. Sometimes thoughts come into my paintings also, but then they're not so deep that it will change a society. I think art should be very nice, very pleasant. When you walk into the house, if you have an art piece on the wall, you should be able to communicate with that art piece, and it should say, okay, come back, welcome back home, and it's a nice home, it's a beautiful house. So with all my art, I think it should be beautification.
Let us tell you what we wanna say. Not about just getting paid or achieving fame. It's about the everyday blood, sweat and tears, dreams and fears, everything you gotta hear. Listen, from the first steps to the final leap, making headlines in history. How they did it, it's no mystery. Take a seat, honestly. Yeah, we're creative and talkative. There's no stopping this, there's no topping this. Time for honesty with some novelty. Sit down with Ketki, you just hit the lottery.
Hope you had as much fun listening as we did talking. Do subscribe for updates on our upcoming episode out every Friday. Like, share and follow us on YouTube, Facebook and Instagram, as well as creativetalkative.com. That's creative with a K.